Nameless sword, your hand skill really matter. If you have a very good hand skill, you can deliver high DPS even with very poor gear. So today I will show you how to deliver 41 Vagrant Sword in 30 seconds to check out the highest DPS you have for your current gear. So who knows, after this you can hit 50k DPS with your current gear. So for this method, every millisecond counts, so your hand have to be in a very perfect, precise positions within these 30 seconds to release as much wave as possible to the maximums of your current build. So I will show you every detail. Please pay attention to every detail here. So if you deliver a continuous sword wave, you start pressing your R key after the first wave. So the timing of pressing this R key is very important. So if you look at the default, the third wave animation end, it takes a lot of time. So don't wait the animation end, only press the R key. The timing to press the R key is immediate after your third wave. So if you see the wave release out the time, immediately press down your R key immediate after the third wave send out. So if you look back the original one, if you press the R key after the animation end, this wastes about half a second. So if you can save out this one, you save every half second for one Vagrant Sword. 40 Vagrant Sword, you will save about 10 to 20 seconds. There is a lot of DPS you can deliver if you press the R timings just after the third wave release. Second one is when you release the R key. So the release of R key is also very important. So by default, if you hold down your R key, you listen to 2 charging sounds, then after half second it release out. So this is by default, but actually you can release the R key earlier, immediate, before the second sound. So you look at the charging screen, look at the flash, it flashed 2 times. The flash is usually faster than the sound. So observe the flash, so immediately look at the second flash and release your R key just after the flash. So don't use to hear the sound 2 times, but see the flash. Flash is faster than the sound. So in this way, you can release the wave faster and charge the wave even faster. So every wave you can save about 1 second, almost 1 second. So for the sword massage skill, it charge the opponents and deliver this key imbalance to your opponents. You can use the Parry Cut skill to avoid you charge forward by deliver this key imbalance. So always parry after the sword massage skill because the buff is more important than the damage. And even you can cut the skill without parry key. The secret is to put the sword massage skill in between 2 waves. So at every 30 seconds, you deliver wave 2 times this 6 wave, right? So after the first 3 waves, immediately press the skill, then press the R key again. Use the second sword wave to cut the skill instead of using your parry key. So you don't have to use the parry key to cut the skill for your sword massage. Use the wave to cut it instead. So wait for this 20 second buff to finish so you know you can deliver 2 waves. Then put the sword massage skill in between the 2 waves. So this makes your skill very fast without any parry key. It saves about half a second. Spear massage skill used to restore your endurance and it gives you this buff, but the end animation is too long, so always use parry key to cut the skill. You can cut immediately after the release. Use mouse scroll to switch to spear, then skill and cut skill parry, then use a mouse wheel to switch back to the sword to deliver the wave. So do it as fast as possible because this weapon switching takes a lot of time, so it requires a lot of practice. The cooldown of this skill is 12 seconds. Remember this one, you need to keep in the mind. So this 12 seconds allow you to deliver 3 sword charge, then only it will return the cooldown. So always count how many waves you deliver, then switch your weapon back and use this spear massage skill to heal your endurance. So need to be memorized. So count 3 times, then switch back to the spear and deliver this massage skill to recover your endurance. Because you're always running out of endurance, so you need to use this spear massage skill to restore your endurance as many times as possible. So you cannot see the countdown, you need to memorize it. Switch the spear and only you can see the countdown. So it's very important to remember 3 to 4 waves is 1 cycle for your cooldown, 12 seconds. For the multi-wave buff, if you are not in the combat, you can immediately release the 3 wave without using your sword special skill. Alternatively, you can deliver your sword special skills to have this buff of 3 wave also, but do a parry key to cut this skill immediately. So it is very important that after you hit the dummy, you will lose this buff, so you cannot deliver 3 wave. So you need to use back your sword special skill to cast skill and deliver this one. So for the dummy fight, don't damage the dummy first. Immediately use the 3 wave as your first skill. So you can totally avoid using this sword special skill to charge up the buff. The Flute skill, the first hit is always abundance. It will not trigger any combat. But the second hit is important to maintain your DPS. So the key is to deliver your sword wave to start the combat just before the second hit of the Flute hitting the dummy. So look at this one in slow down. The Flute first hit is abandoned. You need to deliver the sword wave just before the second hit of the Flute. So sword wave just before the second hit of the Flute. So this is very important to maintain the DPS. So you have one extra hit from your Flute skill. Then use this ghostly stab mystic skill at start of the combat. So this gives you reduction cost in your endurance. So use this one at the start of the combat so you can charge more with little endurance. Then use Soaring Spin to buy time to recover your endurance. If your Spirit Martial Arts skill is in the corner, you cannot restore the endurance. Use the Soaring Spin to buy time for another time of charge skill. So it will give you time to restore endurance for one more charge skill. Then for the buff, you can go to Kaifeng cities. Man is at this area, woman is at this area to get the endurance buff. Talk to the lady and pay commerce coin here to get this buff endurance reduction for your skill. Then you can consume this ginseng also to boost your max physical attacks, so you can craft this one from your craftings. Also, you can activate your passive buff from this dummy training area. Activate the ginseng and activate the script here. Remember to use your Divine Craft as bio oil. Then go to the settings in the game here. Remember to turn this one to auto use. Don't use smart renewal, use auto use. So starting with the Divine Craft, then use the ghostly stab. Then let's do your Q skill, parry. Then switch to sword. Then use the Flute skill. Animation cut with parry. Then continue with the sword. Then immediately release the sword breath just before the second hit of the Flute. So this is the starting. So I have put the full rotation here and thing to pay attention. So for the start, I will do another video on this one. The best start is to have max physical attacks, affinity, momentums, and power. The gear set is using jet way. Then for the gear retuners, make sure you have 4 physical penetrations in your 4 offensive gear. And also for the tuners for defensive set, make sure you have 4 Nameless sword charge skill damage bonus. Then your affinity should be controlled within 45 to 50%. Max physical attack should be above 2008. So this is all the important things that keep in mind. So hope you do well in your Nameless sword build. So that's all for the video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.